what we're discussing is important. It's what I kind of looked at before, but obviously it's going to be really helpful. But like, yeah, like how old are you? 21?
No, I'm like, I just turned 23.
Hell yeah. Nice. Okay. And it kind of went out. How long did you say you've been in Miami?
Like 4 years now.
Oh, okay. Sick. So were you in college then?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just graduated like this past spring. But I transferred there as a sophomore.
Mhm. To U Miami?
Yeah, yeah, to UM. Sorry, I didn't give preface on that, but yeah, I went to because
Hmm.
I grew up. I thought I was gonna be like I did not think I was gonna be in music or entertainment at all. Like I grew up like
Hmm.
going into computer programming. Like I went to Claremont McKenna College. I actually played basketball there. I wanted to be like a college athlete.
Cool.
I thought at first, and then I got there and did the year. Literally on New Year's night, I was like, "Fuck this! Like I can't do this anymore. I need to go to a better school.
Uh,
I got to get the fuck out." And then I started
yeah.
applying to schools like the next day. And I didn't
And
even
you were
think about
okay
going to
with
UM at
leaving
first.
basketball?
Yeah, yeah,
Were
I
you
was over
okay with leaving
basketball.
basketball? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's why
Y-
I was done with it. Like I don't know. I like like don't get me wrong, like basketball did a lot for me. Got me into like Claremont, which is like a really great school. And it still is.
Mhm.
Like I transferred there, but great school. It just like wasn't a vibe, wasn't my fit, wasn't exactly what I wanted, and I knew exactly what I wanted, so had to dip out of
Yeah.
there. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, wait, what were you talking about? I can't even remember.
No,
What
you're
was the
good. I was
initial question?
curious, just because. Yeah, no, we're just kind of getting into a. I was curious about college
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay. Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
How you
And
got
oh, wait,
to U
yeah.
Miami?
Because
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I was like a computer programmer, played basketball.
Hmm.
Then I transferred to Miami, like at a completely like fresh start point in my life. I was starting over. I was like, all right, I can do
And
anything
how
here.
many years did you do at the first school?
Just one. I just did freshman
Oh,
year,
okay.
and
So
like
one
literally,
year.
yeah.
Got
And
you.
by that New Year's
Hmm.
point, that was like my breaking point where I was like, fuck, I can't be here anymore. Like this is not how I want to live
Hmm.
my life. And like that was like the first decision I was like pretty proud of myself for. That's like
Yeah, the
actually,
first like real decision you make. Yeah.
yeah, to be
Cool.
like, you know what, this isn't exactly what I want out of life. And it's like I was just looking
And
at
what do you
college and
think
I
it
was like,
was
I
that
can't
triggered
regret
that?
anything,
Like
you know?
what? Yeah, what specifically? Because I think a lot of kids or like guys, they don't know like what it feels like. Can you point to like a specific event or something that would you say triggered that? Were you thinking that and then you came to like? There's a difference between thinking about it and then actually coming to fruition and like fully engulfing yourself in it. Were you thinking about it for a while, or was it? Did something happen and then you just kind of it switched?
Yeah, well, I feel like, people will change when they feel emotional enough about it. So it had been like I had been building these feelings up for like the entire first semester because it like New Year's was like that December break. And I sort of like I just like trust my feelings. Just it didn't like the school didn't feel right. Like I had great friends there though, and love those guys to
Mhm.
death. But just overall, the whole fit was just not right, and I could tell. And then it just kept building, kept building. I actually like said like I at New Year's I had like the breaking point for it because I was like on Snapchat like looking or like on Instagram looking at all my friends from home that like were back in Atlanta, which where I grew up, and going out partying like have no responsibilities and like I had practice like twice a day like the entire fucking break and I was so over basketball and I was like god damn like this isn't like what I really fuck with anymore or not really fuck with but like this I'm a big believer that like if I do something I want to do it for the rest of my life like I don't want to like waste time
Of
on
course.
anything that like I'm not gonna like go at for the rest of my life so I was
Yeah.
like I'm done with that. I gotta change. I gotta find something new because I know I don't like this. So I took the leap of faith. I felt I felt emotional about it to actually just be like, fuck this. I'm actually transfer. And I almost like didn't get into other schools. I actually applying pretty late, and I wanted to go to
Mhm.
like USC or like Vanderbilt, and I I didn't get into USC, which was pretty crazy. I thought it was a lot, like
Mhm.
California. And then U Miami wasn't even on my initial list. I just didn't get into like two places, and I was like, bro, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, I can't go back to this school. Like, I gotta fucking figure it out. And I applied
Yeah.
like in July to like U
Mhm.
Miami, and that's right when I was going abroad, or like I did like 4 weeks in London.
Mhm.
So I applied right before I
And you were
went,
doing that, was that
like
because
my freshman
the
year
first
summer.
initial schools weren't? Yeah, okay. But you were applying to schools at that point.
Yeah, like so that whole spring semester, my freshman year, towards the
Mhm.
end, I started applying. So then, like,
Cool.
it was the beginning of summer. Like, I was about to go to London for like the study abroad thing I was doing, and
Yeah.
um, and I had just applied to Miami right before. I found out like the end of like when I was, doing study abroad over there, like literally in Germany.
Mhm.
Or when I found out, I was like, ran outside, I screamed, I was like, "Let's fucking go!" And then I literally came back to Atlanta 2 days later, drove down to Miami, and literally like 2 weeks after that is how I first like got started in like the whole entertainment and music
Cool.
world.
Okay. Yeah.
So it started happening like fast, you know.
Yeah, and that's really what I try to highlight with this being a Miami-based show is that when you put yourself in the right environments, like shit starts to happen, and nobody wants to believe it, but you don't know until you do it. Because I was in a very similar situation. I didn't know that about you. In the there's nowhere to find out that you used to play college basketball, and then
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is how
that's
you
why I
end up.
wanted to like give a
Yeah,
little
that's sick. But
background.
I can relate to it, dude. I came here for. I'm only in Miami because I wanted to be a college athlete too. I ran Division II track and cross country at Nova, and 2 years in, I was saying literally what you just like went through. Like I feel you, brother. Like we won't
Yeah,
get like too into it, but
yeah,
oh my god! And I wouldn't. And I it's the same deal. I wouldn't be doing this show talking to you if I hadn't taken the time to say, is this what I really want?
yeah, yeah.
And for me, it happened over COVID.
Here now.
What's up? Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
exactly. Like,
I'm
just
a
we're doing
year in,
exactly what we
so
want.
yeah, I graduated like the same this past spring too, um, but I was on like some 3-year program. So for me, it was sophomore year, and we had COVID. So like I trained all year, and then that sophomore season, like all the events were like restricted to
Yeah,
be in Florida. Like it was just basically practice. And so I was heading into my senior year, and I was like the business shit. Like my sophomore year, bro, I was partying. I was going to practice, and I was doing the right things. But like
yeah,
I just learned how to balance it, which is scary, and I've never like admitted that, but my
yeah,
coaches knew. I learned how to. I decided freshman year the lifestyle I wanted, sophomore
yeah,
year, and then spring break, and saw the networking behind it, and saw my. I just tried to do both, and then decided it wasn't worth it. But anyway, like yeah, it was very liberating to like do that, and now this year I just decided, I'm going all in with the the business, and this is what we're doing
yeah.
for the 12 months. Instead of it being my senior year of college, it's just my first year of 12 months just business, no track, no bullshit, no yeah.
Yeah, that's how I
So
feel now, because don't
cool,
we all just want to be like free, especially like
right?
as men, It's like
Exactly,
that's why
dude.
they say like escaping the 9 to 5, like or that's
Yeah,
what like doing your passion. It's all like that's all it's about, like having the freedom to like make the choices that you want throughout your day and live the life that you really fucking want, like you were saying.
yeah. Because when
I
you're
feel like
when you're in
college
the yeah
athletes, or oh,
yeah
sorry, what were you saying?
no, keep going. I want to hear
Okay,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I was like one of the first like college athletes to just like not give a fuck about being like, yeah, like I will not play basketball and go to a school to drink more. Like that's what I wanted to do at that season of my life. And like
Mhm.
party, and like I wanted to be in a fraternity and have that experience, and it's all part of the life journey. So
Yeah.
You know, I went there, did exactly what I wanted to. You know, I feel like people are afraid to like admit to themselves like what they really want, you know. And
Yeah.
once you like are more
Yeah.
clear about like what you really want, and I think that's the good thing about growing up. Like people are just so scared to grow up, but like I like the fact that I feel like I know what I want more. And I feel
Mhm.
like you'd probably say the same too, and just, you know, then aligning your actions with like exactly what you want, you know.
Right. And not to say, would you say, like, I think there's an obsession with security, and I think it's ingrained in us since we're literally born. Like, you're told what to do for the first, 18 years of your life, and then you just are let off on your own, and you haven't been an adult you're supposed to figure out how to being an adult on your own from 18 to 21, but the first 17 years somebody holds your hand. That part was just always like very interesting to me, right? Like
Yeah.
you get all this freedom and then people expect you not to fuck up, but it's just like, you know what? You got to be willing to learn. And the problem is people feel that and then they don't try. And that's where
Yeah.
we're getting at. We're saying
Well,
try.
yeah.
This is you're going to fuck up no matter what you do cuz you're fucking, 18 to 25, like but do shit, learn fast and learn what you want, right? Like fail at the shit you want and learn. Don't fail at the
Yeah.
shit somebody's telling you you're not good at, like, or that you don't feel like you're good at, right? Like don't fail at, or like, just any of that. Like no structured shit is gonna, should dictate how you feel about yourself when it's not shit you want to do. Right. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Well,
um,
like people
yeah,
like the everyone that like people look up to have just been doing it for like fucking 40 years, and people
yeah.
think they can like do it for like 20 hours and like be it's
And it
near as
clicks.
good. It's just not gonna
Right.
happen. You
And
like there is no other way but to just try every single day. That like
yeah,
that's all you can do. That's all you can
and you
control. It's just
it's
yeah.
consistently, like by consistently thinking you'll try. And that's what I try to tell you. Like they're like, oh, I don't know what action takes because they're not thinking right. So like I bring up this example to a lot of the guys we work with, and I'm like, you know, Justin Bieber's Justin Bieber because he decided he was going to be Justin Bieber, and then consistently decided that for 10 fucking years, and now he's Justin Bieber, right? So at 16 he decided I'm going to put myself on the streets and sing and tell people who I am and do this, and he did it 10 years consistently, and he did what he did, right? And like you said, people are only willing to tell people that for a month. You can't tell people you're the best DJ in Miami for a month and then expect it's gonna happen. You got to consistently believe it, and if by letting people know that fuels that, so be it. But like, it's just a decision. All they're doing is the 1% are just consistently deciding every day that that's what they are. And
Yeah.
I know it
They
seems
like own it, you
cliche.
know?
That people are like, oh, everyone always says that. The people that are saying that are the ones that fucking did it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Well,
they're
then
saying that because
they
it's
earned it
ingrained.
also, you know,
Yeah.
like I feel like everyone just like deserves what they get, you know? Like the world isn't fair, but like the people
Yeah.
are there for a fucking reason, and if you're not
Yeah.
there, you're there for a reason. You just got to keep going. Like I don't know,
I
like I
agree.
said, like if I'm not gonna do something for the rest of my life, I'm not gonna do it. It's like I don't know, like people think it's just like like if you want to be great at anything, you gotta have to, it's just like a complete like lifestyle switch of just like
Well,
this is me, like I am
yeah.
this, like I am a producer and a DJ, you
Yeah,
know,
you gotta
like you
feel
have to
that
like
stuff makes you feel
ingrained in
it.
your soul.
Yeah, like the people are always like, "Oh, you can't just say a bunch of affirmations and do it." You're right. You can't just say them. You have to like feel them, and that's what they talk about. By saying it, you can train your brain to feel it. And like if you don't spend the time to do that, you're right. Saying it's not going to do shit because you're not going to actually feel it. But now I want to get into some more specifics. Talk about, like you said, what you're driven to do now. Like what specifically are you doing down here in Miami? Kind of on a business standpoint, like you just said, I know the mindset's there. What has that kind of turned into for you down here?
Well, I do two things. Like I have my
Cool.
artist brand, Jordan Viechielstein, and Upsilon Lifestyle is a like the whole grand scheme thing is like a media, entertainment, and music brand. But right now, like our actual operation is doing nightlife events in the city, like in UM, and just like young professionals in the city. Um, and we do like a little bit of tourist stuff, but basically just like nightlife events in Miami, partnering with, you know, well-established venues down here, such as Live, Story, you know, Strawberry Moon, we've done at Dare, which is in the Hard Rock. Just a bunch of different like venues. I've been doing this for over 2 years now. Um, so that's been what I've been up to lately. Like I said, when I first came here, I got involved with group really early on as a promoter.
Smart.
I started promoting for a while. Then I was like, fuck, like I love nightlife, I love the scene, but like I don't wake up every morning and just be like, yes, I want to fucking promote all day. Like, what do I really want to do? Once again, and I was looking at the artist and like the DJ who wasn't just a DJ, he was playing his music. It was his show, and I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. So I went from promoting to then producing and then DJing. So,
Nice.
and then because of my start promoting, I just, and I was naturally good at it. Um, and just being well connected within, Greek life going here, it just, you meet people that introduce to people. And if you go put yourself out there long enough, you make the right connections to put the pieces together. So I grew that, and it was just how I made my money. Now that I'm
Yeah.
graduated, especially, like I get I got a fucking much more financial pressure on me. So I'm glad that
Mhm.
I, spent the time in college to get that to the point where I'm making money now, because I'm
Right.
not like I'm still growing my artist brand. So it's not like fully monetizable. So,
Mhm.
got to pay the bills somehow, just
Yeah.
I wanted to do something that tied back into my artist brand to help grow it up.
Smart.
Because I'm trying to like build like a festival brand,
Hell yeah.
so that I can book
I'm
myself
glad we
at.
touched base, Like that's why you have these conversations, cuz like obviously, you know, just looking into, for me the podcast plays a big part into what we're building, cuz it gives me a part of like getting to connect with these people that are involved, and our audience can learn, and it adds value. So
Yeah, yeah.
I 100% agree. I like what you're doing. I definitely looked into it. I want to talk more about how did you get started with that media entertainment brand, and like you guys hosting parties?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
called what's it called? I don't want to mispronounce the name, otherwise I would have
wait.
started this.
The Upsilon lifestyle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Um. So to like summarize it, like concisely. Um. Like I said, I started off as a promoter for groups like Live, Story,
Mhm.
Komodo, Swan,
Right.
all like David Grutman, if you have heard of him.
Yeah.
Just for the audience out there.
Yeah.
His company. So I started off like basically like if you're there are these promoters within nightclubs, especially like the high end bottle clubs, where your focus is like bringing in a hot guest list of girls and like selling $10,000 tables. So I basically started off as like the lowest level of that, just learning the system, like learning how to like get girls out to like and host them at a table, and how to meet clients and start selling. So I started off doing that, um, and then it and then COVID happened.
Okay.
And oh, also before COVID happened, I was doing the promoting. But like just really starting, and
Gotcha.
I was a digital marketing intern in their office. So I was like,
Oh, smart.
yeah, I
Nice.
know, and like I was doing like all the software stuff because that's what I was studying at the time. I was
Yeah.
like
It's an
doing
interesting
programming.
background compared to what
So
you're
like I
doing
was
now.
really doing like
Yeah.
corporate, and like I was in the field of just
Yeah.
like the promoters, because it's like they have it's two different like professions sort of.
100%. Yeah.
And like as the promoters rise and you bring in more revenue to the clubs, you can start to have more of a corporate role, and I think that's the natural progression of things. But I saw that progression. I try and think very long term, and I was like, that's not where I wanted to end up. Like that's when I saw like the producer and the DJ, and I was like, I want to fucking do this. But
Oh, I
also,
see what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got you.
So that, and then when
Transition to
COVID
really be
happened,
hard into it. Yeah.
yeah. So when COVID happened, nightlife closed down everything, and there was no internship, there was no promoting. So like I sort of tell people that like COVID might have been the best thing that ever happened to me, because then I had like a full like year window of everyone just being inside that I literally bought FL Studio as soon as possible. And I was just like, I'm going to just produce all day and just dive into music and learn everything about it that I could. And that's what I did like every day. Like it was
Yeah.
funny. I was actually like in COVID, I was living in my frat house that had like, it's usually like 18 kids live there. Um, and then it was just down to four of us. And
Hell yeah.
I basically just stayed down there. Like it was the best place to be in all of America.
Yeah,
It
you're in
was,
Florida. I was the same
yeah,
way.
yeah. And like I lived on a bit like a big house. We had like a gym outside, you know. I had like a big property like walk around on. Like I wasn't like fucking like in an apartment or like any shit where you got to
Being
just put
so
a
bad. That must have been
mask on
so
just
much
to like
fun.
walk outside.
Yeah.
Um, like it was the most free place possible. And then segueing that, that's how I started. I took, and then over this period while I was becoming a producer and trying to learn, I
Mhm.
was, like meditating on like what I wanted to, like, I knew I wanted to start like a nightlife brand of my own. I knew the advantage of, you know, establishing a brand and, you know, growing that over time. You know, I knew there was power in that. So I was like, just,
And as a nightlife brand, are you
strategizing and
promoting?
setting it up.
I just wanted to, like, when you talk about the specifics of like a nightlife brand, a lot of that is, what I've learned so far, at least as what I've tried to encompass with Plug Collect, is a lot of good amount of deals I do are promoting, but promoting through Plug Collect, and then being like, you can use this as like leverage to sell your tables and do whatever you got to do. Um, does it encompass that? Do you do promoting through that? Like, is that like a part of it to have those promotion like connections to be able to work with other clubs when you're starting out?
Yeah, well, in my mind,
Mhm.
promotion is sales and marketing is marketing and brand is brand. So, anyone that's truly wealthy knows that, you can only like sales is only, so scalable as opposed to marketing, which can you can get scale like mass scale compared to, like it's
Everyone
hard
needs
to
it.
get that exponential growth with
Yeah,
promoters. So
100%.
like
Yeah.
the promoters are the lifeline, like
Mhm.
the blood for like the blood of like the business. That's like
Mhm.
that's who we can depend on because they know we can do X. We know certain people can do, yeah, like X and Y. But as a business owner, like, and like a business philosopher, like I'm trying to get my business to the point where I don't need promoters. Like I want to, like, in my overall vision has always been to produce content that was valuable enough to then get people to just want to come to our events, because if they fuck with our content, like they'll probably fuck with our events. And if we execute on quality events, then that to me is all you need to sell out and fully maximize profit on like an event. Sure, and I'm sure like promoters will always exist because you can always add on to parties and just make them bigger by adding these promoters, because if certain groups want to sell out bigger venues, um, you know, that's a strategic way to, still you might give up more percentage of like the revenue structure, but you're going to end up creating a bigger event that makes more money. So that's
Yeah.
sort of how I think about all that. Promoters are like they're good, they're reliable because you know like you can. I mean, people are only so reliable, but it's not like certain times through content marketing you can go ups and downs, but promoters will always sell tickets.
Yeah. No, that's sick. Now I'm glad you made a good point there. That your point, like your whole purpose was to make content that made people want to work with you. That's not the normal way of thinking, right? Like people think social media is a waste of time. Why do you not think social media is a waste of time, and how have you seen it? Like, do you have some examples of just like stuff
Yeah.
that blew up or something that like really got a lot of people to a certain event?
Well, I don't know. Like people can cry about social media being bad, but it's here. So like and I think the internet is the most powerful thing to ever existed. And I've spent like my last couple of years, like ever since like high school, trying to like understand it and how to use it to, bring business results. And if people aren't doing that. They're just like missing out. Like I see all the points on like short-term gratification, and like I like literally in the past couple weeks I've limited my consumption, or I've been trying to, and just like sticking towards longer format stuff, because I do realize like the effects it has on like my attention span, and how it's literally like literally making humans like evolve. Like we weren't like humans were not ready for like to process all the shit that social media is giving us. So it's less of like the technology's here, it's not going away. Like you better understand how to like consume it correctly and then leverage it correctly for your business. And if not, like you're just gonna like get fucked by it, I guess.
Yeah, and I think we're moving.
That's exactly
I
how I feel
will.
with it.
Yeah, I will make a point. Like, I think we are, because of the amount of content that's being produced. I think we are moving past a phase where like it really nobody gives a shit about the people that don't think it's worth it anymore, because there's too many people making money that can tell you that it is, and there's too many people that are pursuing their passion that can tell you that what it is. I don't want to say the money is like the biggest pull with social media, because it takes so long to like really make money from it. But it also, the other point I want to make, and you could probably agree with this, is it depends on the way you look at it. Like you just said, I wanted to produce content that showcased what we were doing so that people wanted to come to our events. It's still you in the DMs, you using your network to tell these people to come, but now they have that video as a reference point to say, oh, what this guy's saying is actually legit. So whether they bought it because they saw your TikTok, or you produced that and we're just able to showcase something, I think that's the pull. You've never had an opportunity to like do what you love and then show people how they can also do it. And if you don't think there's value in that, you don't know common sense, right? Obviously, there's value in being able to watch the people that are doing exactly what I'm doing at such a high level, and I can talk to those people, and like I can learn something from everyone. And like social media allows you to do that. So like you're right. There's too much like the information. Like there's people aren't ready to like process all this, and that's why I don't know. I think if they're like you said, if you're using it for the right reasons, it's just it comes down to discipline, right? Like if you can't limit yourself to do.
I'm glad you said that. I think that's what I've been thinking.
Yeah.
It's a classic case of self-control. Like
you're either gonna have
just
discipline
like let
in what you're doing
down
not there, or yeah. So
it's like people
it's 100%.
People think they don't have the choice. It's like, no, you have to like control your fucking mind. Like that's the only thing you can control.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not going away. So it's,
and you have the choice
like,
to use it to your advantage.
They watch like 300 videos of just like some like chick just like putting her like tits in, or doing like some stupid dance, and like no wonder why like you're like it's making you stupid. Like duh. The content I consume, like I listen to like Alex Hormozy talk about like management strategies like while I work out. That's the content I consume every day. Like
I just said it the other day, dude. More podcasts in the gym, bro. I tweeted it.
Ruining your mind. Like duh. Like stop watching dumb shit. Like there is no other answer. Like, and then if you do that, like then the creators creating impactful and meaningful stuff will rise to the top, and then more people will have that effect on them. Like I think the biggest content creators in the world are like just the most influential people on the fucking planet, because they've achieved like mass communication at scale. Like that's the true power in it. Like, and I'm big into like philosophy, and that's why I make content, because like I want to like have my philosophy like be big.
Well, yeah, and that's the reason I recently started. I've been in the podcast like production and social media production, and like I've been in content production for the last like 2 years consistently, and entrepreneurship, but I never like mass produced out my own. And it took coming to that. I understood the business side to it to a T. Like I just, like you said, I listened to Gary Vee in the gym. Like it's just like it's how I had operated, and then I started bringing on people to help me, and they're like, dude, why don't you like all the shit I was teaching them, they're like, why don't you do this shit? And it took me coming to that point where I was like, I watched Arlen. He's like just another has an online business and does a lot of mental stuff. I mention him on the show all the time. But anyway, he talked about how like when he made content in the morning, he felt like that was him giving to the world, and like that was him providing value, and like it just created like this flow, and he just kind of kept rolling with it. And I felt that when I would record the podcast, and now I've gotten into more like being intentional with posting daily clips of me providing that value so like more people can see it. And I do feel a lot better. Like now I don't give a shit if it gets views. I just know mentally I feel better knowing if one person gets held out by it. Like it's better than me not putting it out. Like it's very simple, you know?
Yeah. People want to make things more complex than they actually are. But like simple is not easy, like creating content like seems very, very simple, or seems very easy because it seems simple. But, I've figured this out like as I've gotten into, like you said, like going at it, doing like daily posts and all that shit, and actually grind it out, just how difficult it is to build a brand there. Just as anything else that's difficult, like any business, you're not going to get into any market or any industry with anything and just waltz your way to the top. Like you're gonna have your ups and downs. You're gonna go through shit.
And
it's gonna be the way.
Yeah, for anyone who's gonna ask like specifics on how to do that, like I was in this like the same place. I didn't think it was really like worth it, and I was just like you said, I put out a bunch of stuff and really wouldn't really click. And I just had a switch, and I like to tell people this. I started thinking about systems that made it so that it didn't suck. Right. So like I looked at the best creators and they're putting out 3 posts a day, 4 posts a day. I go, how the hell are they doing that? Like Gary Vee, he's cutting up his podcast. He's doing these things. He's recording long form and cutting short form. And that was really where I came to on a specific standpoint. But the point is that I just started seeing like, how can I build a system to make this easier and start playing with it? So now I've decided, okay, there's softwares that allow me to post multiple times a day. I can work with an agency. I can hire an assistant that can post that's cheap labor, right? Like I can find ways to make this feasible, because you're right. If you can't, and obviously I'm a little biased, because I have an agency, but you're right. If you're only putting out what you feel like putting out, the problem is if you're new to social media, you don't understand that posting 2-3 times a day is the next level. You don't understand that posting at 3 different platforms a day is you taking it to the next step. You get caught in this loop that like if you post once a day and no shit pops off, it's just the quality. The quality is important, but yes, you also are missing out on an entire game of it's a game of exposure. You need one person to see one thing that clicks and reach out to you. So if you're on 3 to 4 different platforms, then that's taken care of and you can focus on content. If you're focused on content, trying to reach out to a certain person like I was, and like I just thought it had to be all like, if it wasn't perfect, it wasn't going out because I knew it was only going to get 300 views because I was only posting it once, then right, that is a loop. And that's where now like, that's what I mean by like focus on building systems. And because the passion is like the whole first half of it. The fact that you're like, you specifically, you're geared in, like you're ambitious, you know what you want. And there's a lot of people that they can start to figure that out. You want to have that drive because it makes building the systems easier. You know it now, because you know about social media. Okay, here's some specific things I can try to do to make this an easier process, right? So I always tell people, don't look for a way out, but look for like build systems that make it possible. Because like we talked about, this is 1% better no matter what. As long as you put it out there,
the no shortcut.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think you hit like on a couple things that are really good. That, like you said, when you focus on systems, you focus on the work, and then when you focus on like the things that you're doing every single day to produce the best content, then that's how you're going to get better, and that's how you're going to grow. It's not it's less of like, how do I make a video that gets 50K likes, and more so of like, how am I going to set up my recording, editing schedule so I can hit my 3 a day mark. And if I'm putting out 3 a day, then I'm getting the work done, and then you will figure it out from there. It's not gonna And then creating content, it's any creative pursuit. Like
Facts.
in any creative endeavor, I feel like like they talk about this so much in the journey of like a music producer, but I can relate it back to any creative endeavor. It's just you have to go through this period or phase in your journey where you're just making so much and just you're getting your reps, like you're getting your like you said, your 10,000 hours. So to get to the quality, you have to go through quantity and just like make, put out, make, put out, make, put out, make, put out. And like every single time that you make and put out, like you are 1% better. And like if you just do that over a long enough period of time, how like convincing yourself like or that you're smarter than you are or quitting.
Mm.
I mean that I feel like that's the only way that people make it. And that's what they'll say. They're no shortcut by just
Right.
doing the right shit and long enough.
Consistently compounding and not over stressing. Like, this doesn't mean if you're tired not to take a break. This doesn't mean like burn yourself out. It means just be intentional, consistently intentional with everything that you're doing, and then don't be surprised by the result. Like, it's hard to not. You just do have to. There's an element that I'm learning about. Just like, you do have to trust it. Like, I have days where like, yes, I'm dialed in for a week and nothing happens, or 2 weeks nothing happens, but then like another week happens and now I've been really dialed in on it for 3 months, because like 3 weeks, but like consistently like thinking about something. And it's the fact that I stayed with it for 3 months that brought me the result. It wasn't the fact that I just was now dialed in for 3 weeks and wanted something crazy to happen. It was like, no, you've just put yourself through these periods and, dial in and just watch how it compounds. Now I want to get some interesting, like more specific, kind of off-key questions that I like to do on here. I wanted to know, where is the one on here? Okay, I'll start with this one because I'm gonna find it. What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
Fuck. All right. Like I don't know. I feel like the best advice, or no, I don't know. Like to me, where my head goes, it's like the most wise thing I think ever is just having curiosity be your motivator throughout all of life. Of just that's being the thing that drives you every morning. Of just like because when you are just like your intentions are like very important, and when your intention is just pursuing something that you are genuinely curious about, you're going to go about it in the most pure and passionate way to like you're getting the work done because like you just want to fucking understand it, like
Fact.
that. And that's and like I said, it's a pure way. Like a lot of people, especially successful people, like really like go to some dark places and ride some like demons to get their like godlike levels of productivity and their influence on society. But I feel like if you just staying curious is the best way that you can like be happy and like also achieve all the material success that you want.
Cool. Yeah. And now, what are some habits people could do that you've seen kind of help, that can help them kind of, like you said, figure out what they want? Because the big first step is understanding yourself and understanding what you want. And then, like you said, once you find out what you're passionate about, like stay curious. And how can
Yep.
somebody get to a point where they can like drown out the noise? Like, is there anything you do daily that you think helps you stay in
Yeah.
that state of just alignment?
I try and just not do too many things daily because
Mhm.
it's just like yeah, people try and do too much and they fuck up. And like so I'm all about doing less now. So I literally I try and work out every day for an hour and then like we'll sauna after and then I try and meditate every day. So that two things, workout, meditate, that's what I do every day. And that's
Yeah.
it's two things. I can
I do
fucking
the same
remember that.
thing.
But
Yeah.
I think the thing that I've been getting into more that like Alex Hormozy talks about so much is like inversion thinking and anti-habits. So focusing
Yeah.
on
Can you
things that
explain
you
what
know you should
inversion is?
not do every single day.
Okay.
Like 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 you should like eating sugary shit. Like it's an anti-habit. Like I don't like anything over 10 grams of sugar. Like I just like I try not to, or like I don't like on like labels and stuff. But I'm sure like I go over that sometimes. But if you focus on not fucking up, like you win by accident.
Yeah, that if you focus on not fucking up, you won't by accident. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sick.
Well, like
I
and you're not gonna not fuck up, but by just like not do, like but focusing on not doing dumb shit, like you're just gonna be you're not gonna be
yeah,
doing dumb shit. So like
yeah.
you'll
Like
be you
everyone
will be
listening, yeah,
progressing, you know, because
100%.
when
Like
you
if you're
just think
depressed
about
and you're listening
yeah,
to this with a nicotine device in your hand, then that's what we're talking about. Drop it, and you're gonna be happier for the next 20 minutes. Like,
yeah, fucking nicotine, like
oh
this
god,
the our like
killing.
this all right, so I say this to everyone. It's just our
Yeah,
generation, our grandparents' generation, like with cigarettes, like it was with the vape is like my grandma didn't know how bad smoking fucking a pack a day was, but
made her feel good.
I don't even know if
Yeah,
my grandma grandmas have ever done that, but it's just the point. Like
yeah,
everyone's just ripping the I don't know, like
yeah.
I try not to be judgmental, but like that's just my theory. Just like
No, I agree. Yeah,
you don't know how bad it is.
there's science. I mean, there's just science. Yeah, there's just science behind like yeah, there's science behind it, like on those like chemically inducing things, but really it's the habit forming behind it. Like, how much is it distracting you from what you should be doing? And that could be anything, right? Like, you can eliminate that, or you can eliminate something else. But anyway, I liked what you
Right. And
said.
like instant gratification,
Yeah,
like
right.
it's
And it's
it's like the opposite of
everything's accessible.
stoicism and
But
just
just there's a negative way to get it, and there's just because like there's a bad way to do it, and there's also things that are natural that can give you that, right? Like, so it's just a decision at the end of the day. Like you said,
yeah, yeah.
make a decision to if you need that instant gratification, you have Google in front of you. Find out what's healthy that gives you that same feeling and roll with it, right? And you're
Yeah.
gonna be 10 times better. Now,
Especially like as a man, like I don't know, like
yeah,
you will never make an instant gratification decision as a man and just be better off for it ever.
no,
So like
never.
just accept it and try your best to not do that. That's what I try and
Yeah.
do.
100%. Now I want to know what's a cool. I mean, you're an entrepreneur, as we've talked about, and like you obviously have a creative mind, but you don't have a ton of time on your hands. What is a cool idea you think someone else should invent?
Um, so like laser focused in on like what I'm
What you're
doing. Like
doing?
let me like I feel like I have some things because like I try and I have so many fucking ideas
Of
that it
course, yeah.
fucks with me getting my stuff done, like
We're addicted to
my
problem
best
solving.
ideas,
Yeah.
you
No, we're
know.
addicted to
So
problem solving.
I'm actively like trying to turn off my brain like throughout the day so I can focus on like actually like getting the top ideas done. But like I've always thought, let me see, something in like my life I could probably think of. I don't know. I'm blanking right now,
You're
which is
good.
bad
This one,
because I'm
this one's
supposed to
tough
be
to come up with.
ADHD and come with it on the spot. But I guess
Yeah, no, you're chilling. Okay, I was doing three, but now I'm doing two because yeah,
we
it's
can answer
sometimes
you
they get
later. I'll
deep.
bring it up.
You're good. What? Okay, what are two questions you have for the host?
Um,
So you can ask me anything. I got to be just completely honest. Try to get it. Try
what
not
are,
to. I try to.
what in life are you most curious about?
That's good. I am. Whew. I'd say I'm honestly most curious about how much like, and we've talked about the mental side of things. I've always been like very mentally conscious. I'm very curious how much our uh, mind affects like just everything that happens. Like I'm very, if that makes sense. So like I'm curious. I'm always curious like how far like can we go? And like that's just what it is. I'm curious about life, I guess, but I'm very curious how much does your mental shape affect your life? Would be more
It's like it's your entire reality to me
exactly. Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
no one perceives objective reality. It's all
Mhm.
our subjective version, and
Yeah.
your mind is the filter of that objective versus subjective, which then becomes your objective reality. So
Mhm.
like how
Yeah.
you think is literally everything. So I don't know why people don't like think it's more important. Like I
I
guess
know, and
not. It's
that's
literally
why,
it is
like,
literally
yeah,
your entire being and like
I
your
like
entire
finding
like
new
platform.
ways
Like I don't
to
know what's
do
more
that.
important than that.
Yeah. Like, I like finding new foods that I can eat that make my decision making better. Like, I'm like very curious, like these
Yeah.
little things I can do to like very like mentally like just do create kind of what I want to do. But for the second
Push
one,
human potential to the next level, you know. That's what I think.
yeah,
Or that's like what I am motivated, I guess, or driven, I guess. Just how much can we get done? You know, it's like a game.
and feel okay with it.
We're just all playing
Yeah,
GTA out here, just trying to upgrade our characters
it
and shit,
literally
man.
is, dude. Gary Vee says this, and I've mentioned it every fucking week, bro. But like when he said this the first time he said it, it blew me away. He's like 400 trillion to one, right? So like that's the odds of being born,
Yeah.
400 trillion to one. So he's like, if you think you're here to fuck it up, like you're out of your fucking mind. Like you literally, you know what I mean? Like so, it keeps you on that like if there's ever a decision not to think positively, like you have a 1 in 400 trillion chance of even having a negative, like being able to have a negative thought. So like,
Yeah.
if you don't think that can, and I think that's what got me like really obsessed with the whole staying curious about that. Like, what does this 400 trillion mean? Yeah.
Tough time, like, or like gratitude's a thing that like you got to cultivate, though, you know. And it's like a skill like everything else, which he'll always talk about and just emphasize the importance of it. And people can't understand it at first, and I don't fucking blame them because you can't. Like I said, I believe it's a skill that you have to cultivate. Like I've been trying to cultivate gratitude in my life for like 2 years straight now, and like
Me
I feel
too.
like I'm finally like actually like being grateful, like for real, to the next level. Um,
Mhm.
and I think just like the more you go through in life, and like the harder, like when you get into challenges and you work through, and you have like dramatic events happen to you, then you then become more grateful for the things that you do have because you realize that shit they can be taken away. And like you said, like it is so like what what you have is actually so lucky. Like even like like you said, the being born example, like it takes fucking work to get like anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I ask? Or I guess question number two.
Yeah.
Um, who's your favorite artist and why?
Favorite artist.
Like music.
I've always been into music. Mike has always been pretty much number one. Not I wouldn't say like always. I think once I discovered Mike, he's an independent artist. I actually found his like podcast and I'd listened to literally I don't what can't think of These Days. I knew Mike from These Days, and I knew he was like a baseball player at Duke, and like it was like he had like the sport rap kind of thing going on. But then I found his podcast and I saw his music kind of transitioning, and I really fucked with it. He's so big on like just being like 100% being yourself, and he's a prime example of having a successful career as somebody he wasn't, transitioning, like taking that leap at 29 and transitioning to have a whole new sound that he just thought was 100% his and making it 10 times more successful. His new music is like way more successful than like his other stuff was ever going to be. And like he went independent, he dropped his label, he, now he's bringing up a similar artist, Skis, that's like he says is like the 23-year-old version of me or 23-year-old version of him, and he's like it's built on like gratitude and just being who you are, and that's why it's hard to tell what kind of artist is he. I don't know, but he's independent and he's like I fuck with the way his music kind of goes. It really tells his story.
Yeah, no, that's sick. It's like,
mainstream wise, like overshadowing like Kanye. Yeah.
it's
Cool.
his brand is bigger than the music just for you, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now we'll start to wrap this up. I got really hit on a lot of stuff. What's your favorite part about being a DJ?
Just like literally like the fucking energy between like the crowd reaction, like when we're just going fucking
Mm-hmm.
nuts and we're just like that's what I love about like EDM. It's just like it doesn't matter what else is happening in the world. Like you came there to like dance and fucking go crazy, and that's what I love doing. And like I love playing that and
Oh
like
yeah.
having people like literally go fucking nuts is the best feeling ever. So that's why I do it.
Hell yeah. That's sick. All right, man. Plug us in. Where can we find you? What do we have to kind of look? What should we be looking out for coming up?
Okay. My website is gordonviechielstein.com.
Okay.
GORDONVIECHIELSTEIN. You know, it's tough. Sometimes I even fucking misspell it. GordonVichstein.com. That's my website. You can find more info about me there. And Gordon Viechielstein just straight on all platforms. Standard. I'm mostly active on TikTok and IG. But like I'm trying to get
Yeah.
way more into like YouTube stuff and longer format stuff. Like
Yeah. No.
I
Well,
want to
yeah.
I'm like once I moved to LA, like I've been homeless for like a
Mhm.
couple months, so like I haven't really been able to like get a good podcast setup going. But
You
I'm
should do.
gonna get
Yeah.
actually get a place to do it and gonna set that up, and that should be
Fucking go. Yep.
the goal
I
for
got
the
a really
future.
good point to make on that when we'll talk. Hold up. That was good. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on. The end's kind of